a domain admin or an Office 365 admin and so on. So you also secure your environment by automation and self-service. And of course, self-service will speed up because the user or the requester do not have to wait for the IT staff to do any things. They just can put in a request and the automation will do the stuff. And that will make your IT and your users happy, of course, because self-service also makes you happy. And the bad thing is PowerShell has a huge community. So if you need any specific script, just go out to the community and with a good chance, there will be already a script what you can use and connect to au2mator portal. So our top 12 services from our customers typically are user onboarding, user offboarding, reset password, user requests access to a mailbox, to a file server, change Active Directory details, set the maintenance mode, server provisioning, installer software, and so on and so on. So everything you can automate with a PowerShell, just put into au2mator, create a new service, and that's it. There's something more, announcements, team management, and we are fully Active Directory integrated. So there's no cache, no something like this. So we go directly to Active Directory and get all the information. You can manage your team and of course the user details. And that's it. We head over to the demonstration. So that is our portal. You can see, first of all, you will see your information live from Active Directory. So that is gathered from the Active Directory, and you can also see your team information from Active Directory. And this is configured by the management attributes, so manager attributes. So all of these users, the manager is set to my users, so I see them in my team. Or you can configure this by group based. So it depends on your environment, and this information is also live from your Active Directory. So that's the first thing. And now to see what we are capable of, we just trigger a form, which is called add user to group, to see what we are capable of. And then we go behind the doors and see how this all works together. So what you can do is a simple form by adding a user to a group. So you need to select the users. And of course, this user list will get from the Active Directory. So no one has to type in the same account name or something like this. This information is live from your Active Directory. Also the groups. And then I can add a command. It's just up to you. It's not necessary, but it's a command. And then I click finish. In the background, the automation is triggered. And in our case, the user will be added to the Active Directory group. So that's it. That's the magic behind. So we write the automation, build the service, and then you can provide this as a self-service to your end users. And to see how this all works together related on our PowerShell topic, we will go through creating the script, creating the service, and triggering right now. So first of all, we need to configure our store where the PowerShell scripts are located. So this is already done. And in this folder, we created also a sample script. So what is the important stuff here is the input parameters. So that's a usual way to write a PowerShell script and configure some parameters. And we decided to create a script which is adding a user to a group. So we need as an input parameter the user, the group, and additionally a comment. The other stuff is a built-in initialize data. So we do not take care about in this example, but that's the most important stuff, a user, a group, and a comment. And then a very easy way to do it. So maybe in the production environment, you should do a little bit more error handling and logging and so on. But in our case, it is fine. The first thing, we check if the user is already in the group. If yes, we return back to the au2mator portal, user was already in this group. If the user is not in group, we will try to add the user to the group and return back a success. And if there is any error, the catch will come up, and then we return there was an error. So that's our script. That simple way we can build already a self-service. So the script is saved. And now we will take a look on how to create these service. So we will click new. We will enter a name, demo add user to group. We will add the same as a description. We have to select a service group. In this case, we already prepared the Webcast demo. And we select a nice looking image, for example. I just want, yeah, this I want. The next one is we need to select the PowerShell script we created already. So we need to search. We browse through our directory, and that's our script. And what you saw before, the three parameters, C users, C group, and C comment. When you select the PowerShell script, we will read these parameters and provide you with all the questions you need to configure. So I have the C user, the C group, and the C comment. And now, of course, we will enter some nice question names. So choose user. And of course, it is required. And this is not a text, it is an LDAP query. And this will be object class equals user. And we want to see the name and the SAM account name. We can test. And yeah, that's your user list. We see the name and the SAM account name. You can also see the descriptions or the departments, whatever you like. And this is a single selection in our case. And the same for the group. Choose a group. This is also required and is also LDAP query, and the query is object class equals group. And in this case, we want to see the name. We do a quick test. Yes, that is a list of our groups in our Active Directory. It is a pre-populated table. It's just how to show the result. You can have a type ahead or a pre-populated table. I prefer a pre-populated table and a comment. This is not required, but it's okay. And that's a simple text. Save. Oh, we already have this kind of name, so we need to do it demo 2. The questions are still in place and save. So now this request is saved. So we connected to the PowerShell store, we created the script, and we created already the service, so we can use it. So let's see how this all works together. We will start the service. We navigate to our Webcast demo, and that's our demo 2. And click next. And now we have our questions. We need to choose a user. We take, example, this one, and we take this group, and we add a comment, something simple, and click finish. And now the PowerShell script we created a few minutes ago will be triggered with all our values. And we will see also the return in our solution. So if we go back to my requests and see the history, we will see the demo 2 was already green. So there were no errors happened at the execution of the script. And we see the details, and the result was user was added to the group. So that is our return data we have created in the script already. So user was added to the group. So the user was not already a member or something like this. So we are completely fine with this. And that was the easy way to create from the PowerShell script self-service request. It was in less than 5 minutes. So that's the idea behind. And now we are at this point, we want to show you some real life examples, what we already have configured in our system. So what we have is that one of our users is having the problem that we need to reset a password. So for example, Mike Young is one of our members, and we need to reset his password because he was on holiday and he forgot his password. He tried to log in, but it's not working anymore. So need to start the request with Mike Young, for Mike Young. And in this case, we have manager service, and this is called secure reset the password. And why is it secure? Because I need to prove that I am allowed to reset the password of a different user. And to prove this, it is the best, we decided that Mike Jan had to provide some questions and answer combination to make this secure reset password. So Mike Jan already answered some questions. So we can select here, okay, the first pet's name. And in this case, Mike Jan has to provide us the answer. And we have to provide how the password should be sent to Mike, not to the manager. So it should be sent to Mike. So the manager should not see the password, because in this case, then it's secure. And we decide a text message. And if you click finish, the user will be enabled. We check if the answer question combination is correct. And then the user will be enabled and the password will be set. And in a few seconds, my smartphone should receive a text message. And this is something you have to trust. And yes, it is already here. So this is a secure way to reset the password for a different user without interacting to your IT department. So if a user in your team has lost his password or is unable to log in, he doesn't need to call the IT department. Just go to his team leader or manager, and he can reset the password for his members. And that's the idea, to bring these tasks, this standard task, out of the IT department and bring it as a self-service. Also, an example is to create a user, typically user onboarding. So we have a user form. It is called new user. And here we're gonna do enter the first name and the last name. We select a location. And the best is this location is stored in your Active Directory. So if you have, for example, your locations in your Active Directory, you can query them live from Active Directory and present just your organization unit. So you see on the right, my organization units, and that's the same list. You can also do this with a SQL query. So if you store, for example, all your locations in a SQL table in your ERP system, just configure it to get all these values from your SQL table. And of course, I have to select the manager, and this is also a user picker from my Active Directory. And entry date, it is on 1st of June. And yes, he needs a hardware. Oh, more questions. Notebook office is fine. Yes, we need monitors. We need 2, no, maybe more. And then we need to enter reason. So that should show you the way you can also build dynamic forms. So if the question is this or this, then a different form or different questions will pop up or they will remove. So that's my command. And then I click finish. And a few seconds later, the user will be created in Munich, hopefully. Yes, and now the user is here, and I selected that I am the manager. So I should see here in my manager list, yes, without any picture, of course. We haven't configured the picture yet, but I see the user in my list and also with all the details we have done before. So as Mike has now the possibility to sign in again to the portal, we are now in a different browser, just to make it a little bit easier for you to see that we are now working with a different user. Because why? We want to show you how the end user can use it, for example, to request a software. So we have some end user services, which called request software. And here the user can select a software. And maybe you're wondering where the software list is coming from. It is live from your, in this case, our SCCM. So we created some applications. As I said, it's just a demo environment, so we have just a few one. And this list is live from SCCM and will be provided to the end users. So you can select I want Photoshop and on which computer I want to install it. And here we just present them the computer of Mike Jan, of the user. And how this works, because the user, the computer has the primary user, Jan Mike. And that's the reason why I see only this computer. So it doesn't make sense to provide the end user a list with all computers. They will not find the right one. It is helpful, and that's the idea behind self-service, make it as easy as possible. And in this case, we just present them their computers. So maybe they have one or two, a few more, but just to present them a list of their computers. And that's it. And this service is configured to have an approval. So I will go back and navigate to my portal, and I am the manager of Mike Jan. So I have a to-do here. It is request a software. And I see Mike Jan has requested Adobe Photoshop for his Demo 02, Demo 01 machine. And now I click approve, and now the automation is triggered. So that's the idea. So Mike Jan requested something, but the automation will only trigger if the approval is fine. So that's the most important thing. We have one last real life examples, and that's in our actual situation. Maybe you will use Teams a lot more than before. So we decided to build some PowerShell scripts to manage your Teams environment. So we created something to create a new team. And I can enter test team name. It is Demo Team 2, because I already created someone today. The same description. We select the team owner. It is my user in this case. So I want to create it for me. And I choose a team member. And this is Jasmine. And OK. So I create the team and I click finish. So here you can see my Teams environment. It is the web client, because this is refreshing automatically. And you should see the team in just a few seconds coming up. And yes, here it is. Here's the Demo Teams 2. If you click manage, you should also see that I am the owner and Jasmine is the member. So this was completely automated. Now I also can, of course, change the members. So I've decided now I want to do this to make Jasmine as an owner, not just a member. So I want to add a team member here. I will select my team. It is the Demo Teams 2. And I select a member from my Active Directory. It's Jasmine again. And I want to say it is an owner and finish. And my Teams comes in place. We have to wait a few seconds because we now need to connect in the background by the PowerShell script to connect to Teams. So we just refresh the information. And now Jasmine is an owner. And why should we do this over a self-service portal? Because then the team members or team leaders can create their own teams. You can make sure that there's some kind of naming conventions. And you can configure an approval, for example. So not everyone can create teams or channels or add members, and you have everything is documented. So if anyone can create teams as they like, so you have a lot of teams without any documentation. Who is the owner? Who has created this? If you use it with au2mator and the PowerShell, you have it documented, and that's the huge advantage. And of course, you can delete the team also. So if you go and select the remove team, we select our teams 2 and click remove, and then the team will be deleted again. So that's one of our examples you can use. And the bad thing is everything you saw here is completely free to use. So the PowerShell scripts are stored on our GitHub repository that is absolutely free for you to use. You just need our portal connected to your SQL or to your PowerShell scripts, and then you can go ahead and use all the services as you like. And of course, you can adopt these PowerShell scripts. Okay, that has been our real life examples. Now we switch back to our short presentation. If you're asking how much is it, so now we are at the licensing part. So we have 4 different licenses, but The only difference is how many Active Directory users you have in your environment. Everything else is the same amount of features, the same functionality, the same everything. Just adapted to business size and so on. So we need to select all your Active Directory users, and related to this, you can choose whatever license you need, and just and use this. So the second year, you should pay the maintenance. It's not mandatory, but without the maintenance, you will get no support and no releases. So if you have the maintenance, you get always the latest release. And we are trying to release one version each quarter. So we try to add as many features as we can, and to present each 3 or 4 months a new release. And to make it a little bit easier for you to argue if you like it, and to argue against your team lead or manager, we created some return of investment calculation. In this presentation, we do the return of investment calculation for the rookie license. On our webpage, we have done this for each single license, and this is a real life calculation. So this has been customers which bought the license and started with some requests, and this is a real calculation. So in our case, it is the rookie license, and for this customer, we implemented 3 services. It was the user onboarding, it was a password reset, and the out of office replay. And this, for the first year, costs around 8,800 euros. So it's around 4,000 euros the license, and to build the request and the automation and everything else, we are around 8,800 euros for the first year. The savings for the first year, we calculated how much time the IT will save by automating all these requests. And this leads us to an amount of 250 hours. And compared to the monthly salary and including company taxes, we saved in the first year around 9,000 euros. And then you reach the return of investment with the end of the first year, the beginning of the second year. And maybe that's a huge advantage to argue against your manager or team leader. And this is nearly the same for each of our licenses. So as I said, if you need it for a different license, navigate to our website. On the pricing tab, you see all the return of investment calculations and all the details for each single license. So what's next? If you are convinced and if you like it, then you have to convince maybe your team leader, your supervisor, your CEO, your CTO, your C anything. For this, you can use the return of investment calculation and maybe the recording of this webcast we will send afterwards. And also, if you have any questions, just contact me or our team. We will help you in any kind of way if you need anything. If this is done, you have to get the license. You can go to any of our partners, which are listed on our website, or you can directly get the license at the web shop. So you just need to sign in and fill in some details, and you get the license immediately. And then you have to build the automation, your workflows. You can do this also with our partners. So our partners are happy to assist you to build these automation workflows. Of course, you can do it by yourself. If you have someone who's capable of writing some PowerShell scripts, or you have already some, just use them. We also offer some premier services. So if you need help, we are happy to assist you. So we're providing premier services. Just let us know. And as mentioned before, we are providing all these automation scripts, PowerShell scripts, for free to use on GitHub or PowerShell Gallery. So at the moment, we have around 30 plus scripts and solutions. We are constantly adding some newer ones. So just take a look and feel free to use or to adopt, and let us know if you need any help. Some last words. And now I just want to remind you, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat window so we can take care about all your questions. If you have some, you can download our portal for free, and you can use it for free up to 2 services. So there is no time limitation or something like this. You can use it for free and you can create 2 services. So just download it and try it if you like, and just let us know if you have any questions. You can contact us over our webpage or via email, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you like. And now we are nearly at the end and just waiting a few more seconds if there are some questions dropping in. For the moment, we do not see any questions in the chat window. So if you have any questions, now is the time to write them to the chat window. If you want to have, if you have questions, maybe after our meeting, after our webcast, just drop us an email or use the contact form on our webpage. We are happy to assist and to answer all your questions. So there are still no questions here, so we will end the webcast at this point. Thanks for your time. Hopefully you have enjoyed the webcast. Once again, we will send all the informations in a few days, the recordings, and you are able to contact us over many ways. So just let us know if you need any help, if you have any questions. So maybe when you download the trial or the community release and you have any questions, just let us know. So in this case, I wish you all a nice weekend and thanks for your time. Bye-bye.